Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing our true rarity. This is a modern Zenith in-house caliber that is neither Elite nor El Primero based. Are you puzzled? Stay tuned. The watch is the Port Royal. It's technically the Zenith Heritage Port Royal, and we're going to go heavy on the heritage, especially when we get to the movement. But the basic dimensions of the rose gold case: 38 millimeters in diameter, 11 millimeters thick. It's relatively compact at 45 millimeters from lug to lug, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, this watch was sold in 2019, so make no mistake, this is a modern watch. And in 2011, then Zenith CEO Jean-Frédéric Dufour, before he became the general manager of Rolex, announced that Zenith would be relaunching its vintage caliber 2572 to supplement its Elites and El Primeros and to help avoid the need to use Sellita or ETA calibers. So what we have in this watch is a 1970s vintage Zenith 2572 PC, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But the watch ergonomically wears like a modern watch. Being only 45 millimeters from lug to lug, it opens up the possibility that a person with a 14 or maybe 13.5 centimeter circumference wrist could wear this watch. My wrist, for those who may be new to the channel, is 16 centimeters circumference, and you can see the watch has a sloped bezel and a low enough flank that it will slide underneath the dress cuff. It's equipped with a high-grade, large rectangular scale alligator leather strap in dark brown. We have a dark brown stitch, we have a folded edge, and then on the bottom we have an inlay of vulcanized rubber that helps to maximize the life of the strap by isolating it from the heat, sweat, moisture, and grit of the wrist, but it also feels silky smooth against the wrist. And then, of course, this is a brand new Zenith factory strap. We have a matching Zenith branded rose gold pin buckle. The case is simple: integrated lugs, full high polish. There's a cylindrical profile to the case, and then we have a small vertical section of the bezel before giving way to a shallow domed profile. The lugs come to a tapered tip, and they have a little bit of an undertuck to them. We have the Zenith Star logo on the crown. And then we have a very shallow cambered sapphire over an opaline or matte silver base. It's not a metallic sunburst. It's a soft matte finish that creates a gentle glow in the light of my light box. We have applique indices, logo, and then hands, which are baton style, faceted down their center to make for better contrast. You can see how one half of the hand is light, one half is dark. That's thanks to the faceting. We have a lanced style counterweighted seconds hand, and then we have a little date. Now, the watch sets like an El Primero. An Elite sets like a normal movement where you pull the crown out and you set the time. You put the crown in the intermediate position and you set the date. This sets like an El Primero because it was designed by a lot of the same people in the same era. So if you pull the crown to its intermediate position, now you set the time. And take note, this movement did not include hacking seconds as it was designed in the 70s. Now, if you pull the crown out all the way, here's the oddity. The watch now adjusts the date, but it is a bi-directional date. This is one part of the 2572 that lived on in the 1994 Elite, which was designed primarily with the benefit of computers, the first Zenith movement thusly designed. This one designed in the era of manual drafting, but the idea of a bi-directional quick-set date was brilliant then, and it's still wonderful, fun, and practical today. Turning the watch over, you can see the star of the show, water resistant down to 50 meters. This is the 2572, and you can see on the reverse side, so Zenith reference numbers work, you've got the reference in the reference number. The movement is unusual, looks uncommonly raw, and it's labeled unadjusted, which leads me to believe that not only are these movements of 70s design, but they may be of 70s origin. I would not be shocked if Zenith found several hundred of these vintage movements in the factory and simply cased them up and adjusted them. In their era, they would have had the bidirectional quickset. They would have had the then high beat rate of 8 beats per second. They would have featured unadjusted notation, particularly if they were bound for the American market. So all of this looks sufficiently raw that I would conclude this is probably exactly as the movement would have shipped in the 70s, because these parts, at the very least, were made in that period. They may have been built up in the 2010s, but I seriously doubt these parts are of modern fabrication. I think what you're looking at is effectively a new old stock movement. So let's talk about its tech specs. It is an automatic winder with a 44-hour power reserve. Back when it came out in 1972, it was considered to be a high beat movement, and that's 28,800 vibrations per hour. The watch does have the bidirectional quickset, though it does not have hacking seconds. And another feature it would have had in period is the KIF shock protection rather than the prior Inca block. You can see that it is mostly industrial in its execution, as the peacocking of modern caseback finish was not a thing during the 1970s. This is a movement that was not designed to be seen. It does have a modern Zenith rotor. That part is definitely of modern construction, but the rest of it, I strongly suspect, comes from the era of bell-bottoms and earth tones. It's cool. It's like having a vintage watch of recent manufacture, so there are no quality, condition, or provenance issues. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.